Hey, what's that? Look at this, it's the GBLS DAS GDR15. I guess they must have left it here for me to try out. Shame it's a bit windy here at Dragon's Lair, but let's see how it performs. Chronoing on 0.32 gram BBs by ASG, open blasters. It is super consistent. We're at 0.81 joules, so way within limits. We're at 234 feet per second, 235 feet per second, 234 feet per second. Every shot is really, really consistent. That kind of surprises me in a very good way. So the GBLS DAS GDR15 is a fully retractable bolt AEG, so it works kind of like a gas blowback system, but it also has a gearbox and a battery, which is what it runs on. Probably the hardest AEG recoil I have felt. However, in comparison to gas rifles, it's actually not as impactful because you can still feel the gear system kind of churning that bolt and trying to reset the spring. The body splits apart much like a real steel AR platform. The internals are proprietary, the hop-up is proprietary. There's not huge amounts of compatibility with other platforms. Once you get used to the hop, hang on, it's just not accessible. It's not awful. It's just carrying this Allen key around. It's not doing any favors. And making micro adjustments is not easy. Although the trigger is not as heavy as it started off being I think 11 pounds. I believe it's now down to like a 3 to 5 pound trigger pull. It's actually a really interesting shoot. My finger is starting to ache after an hour and a bit of shooting. So the one downside about this gun, it's 1,600 pounds, doesn't come with iron sights. Hard to zero this scope because the recoil keeps unsinking it. Just means that making that first shot actually quite difficult. It's got some PTS furniture, lovely PTS grip, lovely PTS stock. It's got a 14-inch thereabouts Centurion Arms front rail. Not a big fan of this rail. I much prefer 10-inch rails. This is a little bit too long for me. It makes the gun a little bit too front heavy. It is also non-ambidextrous, so it's only right-handed friendly, although the fire selector is absolutely gorgeous, really crisp, really lovely, and the bolt catch is hefty, but it has to be in order to hold that bolt. We have set that up at 61 meters. Let's give it a try. Okay. Went a little bit too high, but I know I can hit the target from here. The consistency of the shot itself is actually fine. However, that also varies on how often it's cleaned and how well it's maintained, because this is the second GBLS GDR15 that they sent out to me, because the first one was really not great in terms of its performance. I was not happy, and they wanted to make sure that they sent a proper cleaned one set up, ready to go. In terms of the mag capacity, it is a 60 round magazine. It's actually really quite lightweight. Pain in the ass to fill. It's like a gas blowback magazine. The trigger response, once you've actually got a light enough trigger, is actually fine. The full auto has a really good rate of fire. Like, it's not sluggish whatsoever. It runs on 11.1s. It's 11.1 wide to Deans as standard. And this has plenty of battery space as well. So as a overall platform, there are some real positives. However, I would like to see some sights. The fact that it has no sights coming out of the box is weird for me. I threw this on, but this is cheap and keeps getting thrown out of zero, so I keep having to redo it. The hop-up is also hard to adjust, and therefore, like, setting up this platform on a game day, you need to spend a good hour to make sure that it's doing the optimal. Run it on 0.32s, you get a really nice flat distance, but even then, it can overhop, so it could handle more. All right, so most people will want to try this. The shooting experience is really interesting. If you get a chance to, I definitely recommend trying it out. It's not for everyone. I don't think it's for me. You can get the budget version. The budget version isn't actually that budget. Instead of 1600, it's 1200, and it's just the receiver and the grip. So it's 1200, but then you have to add your rail, and then you have to add your stock. For me, that ain't a budget. That's still the majority of my armory to afford it, and it just doesn't really reach it for me. The amount of proprietary parts kind of kills this as a viable option, unless this is the only thing you're going to run, and you want to run it in a training environment. You want to run it as an actual shooting training platform. Then it's great. Then it beats everything else on the market. And although we're doing that on our channel, I'm not going to spend 1600 to get one of these. If they want to give me one, then we'll talk. But you know, just be real. For milsim, milsim may be the one for you. It might be right in your ballpark. Those Gucci players that go out on milsims might love this. For me and my regular skirmishes, ain't gonna do it.